Hello, all, welcome to this next session on Docker. In last few lectures, we saw a lot of commands, how to stop, pause, unpause, kill a container. Let's quickly go over Docker containers lifecycle. If you see on the screen, initially the Docker container, when we execute the command Docker run, the Docker container will be in the created state. Then the Docker container goes into running state when the Docker run command is finally executed and the command is run. Okay, and then the Docker command, then we saw Docker kill command, which we can use to directly kill the command, kill the container. Um, Also, we had the option of Docker pause, wherein we saw that once the Docker pause command was executed, the instruction was passed to the Docker daemon. It put everything in suspended state. Also, the other command where we had the option to stop the Docker by using Docker stop command, to basically kind of put a stop. But we also have restart command, Docker restart, which can bring the same container back to life. Okay, and yes, so if you stop a Docker, you can bring the Docker back to life. But once you have killed the Docker, it is gone. You cannot recover anything which was there in that Docker container again. So that's an overview about Docker container lifecycle. Let's just quickly move on to Docker build. Now we finally would be making our own images from a Docker file. But before trying to make our own, we need to understand what a Docker file is. Okay, so Docker can build images automatically by reading the instructions from a Docker file, and it is mandatory. And it is really mandatory. For example, it's see, in this directory, you can see there is a Docker file. So it is mandatory to have the naming convention of a Docker file with a capital D in order to make the Docker daemon understand that this file needs to be picked for building the image. Okay, so basically, when if I open this doc, sorry, if I open this Docker file in a very quick glance, you will understand that the Docker file is has all the Docker definitions. You can think of it as the build recipe for a Docker image. These are a set of instructions that we are going to pass to from via a CLI to Docker daemon. So from the where the very first line, from instruction specifies a source image. Here we are taking Ubuntu 20.04 as our source image for our new image, and this is mandatory. Form command is mandatory, and from instruction can be specified more than once to build one multiple images. For example, in this same Docker file, I can execute, I can write this part, and then I can again write the same set of instructions by using another from. Like for example, if um, I mean, I can just write from below this line again one more from, and then with some different base image, I can take some different base image, and then I can again create, give a different set of instructions. So each from instructions from marks the beginning of the build of a new image. Okay, so I can give a lot of from inside this one Docker file, and every time when the Docker daemon finds a from instruction, it will start creating a new image. So if one Docker file can be used to create multiple images. Then we have maintainer. So maintainer tells us who maintains the image. Here, as you can see, this is my Gmail, and this is just um, internet name of mine. So maintainer tells us what who maintains this image. It's not mandatory, but it is recommended so that you people would know who actually wrote the Docker file. Then comes on to this part. This is run. So run instruction basically tells us which exact commands do we need to will the image creation, the building creation of image will be executed, which all set of commands will be executed in building your image. Then is the CMD. CMD is command. We'll see this. We'll try to understand CMD in a more detailed session in some next lectures. But CMD, in layman terms, CMD defines the default command to run when a container is launched from this image. For example, when this the earlier when we did this, okay, Ubuntu. So here this was the command. This was the first command that the container received when the container creation was done. Similarly, this command is the one which defines the default command to run when a container is launched from this specific image that we'll be creating. And lastly, we have expose. Expose lists the network ports to open when a container is launched from this image. Here we are using ngInx. So in order to launch this, ngInx is a web-based application. So in order to use ngInx, we need to expose some specific port on this on which this would be running. So we have exposed port 80, uh, which lists the, like as I said, lists the network ports. Which needs to be open when a container, this specific container, will be launched via this image. Now moving on to that was what about Docker file. Now the second thing, the most important thing that we are here discussing about is Docker build. So Docker build command builds Docker images from this this specific file, dockerfile file, and a context. A build context is a set of files located in a specified path or URL. So I won't be talking about the entire context. We will be just trying to create we'll try, images based on just Dockerfile. We won't be discussing about the extra add-ons that you can use when you are creating an image. So the basic default image that you can create, the basic prerequisite that you need is Dockerfile. So now I have here Dockerfile. I can create Dockerfile by directly running Docker build and then dot. So what this will do is this will take right now dot means the current directory. Okay, so you can either give dot, which would mean that run the docker build command and take whichever files which are present in this directory to create a image. I can also provide a path. So the path can be any directory which is available in this specific Ubuntu session, whichever path is available and it's working fine. For example, root my image. This is a path which is present in this. If I go cd my image, so here you see there is another Docker file. So I can run this. I can use this Docker file to create an image from any path. So I just need to provide the entire path. Okay, sorry. Docker build root image, and the image was created. And if I go, uh, okay, okay. So this was not. Uh, it is already present. So we need to create. I'm. Let's try to. My image is already there. So what I'll do is I'll remove this. Okay, some can't be unable to delete image with reference to multiple repositories. Okay, I guess something is also open. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll do RMI and I'll forcefully remove this, and then I'll again try to create. Okay, so now I have deleted that image I already created. I had already created the image before. So it was seeing that the image is already available, so it didn't do anything. Now I've removed and I'm trying to create again another image, and it is building. So as I said, we can you can provide um, you can just the basic command is instruction is docker build, and then you can give, if you want to build by using the docker file which is present in this specific directory, you just give dot, or you can give a specific path as we gave root my image. Okay, or and also another good feature is you can directly build it from something which is located in your git. Try to, so for example, this is the same image which we saw earlier while going through dockerFile. This was the file that is placed in the machine as well, and it is also available in my Git repository. So what I can do is I can run a build, and I can create an image by using this my first image URL. So what I'll do is I will directly go and give this URL, and I run, and it will start. I guess let's kill this. Okay, and as you can see, the docker build command is running fine, and it has picked the docker file from my git repository, and it has started preparing that specific image. So it will create, and it will take a little more time because it has a lot of instructions inside that. But uh, but while we are running, it won't create the problem that you might see here is when you run Docker, you might find like this kind of, you see 28 seconds I've killed it, the image creation. So it will definitely, it would be okay. So this is a an half image which is created here um, in my report, but you see that there is the repository name and the tag name is none, because we did not give, while we ran the docker build command, we did not give any name for the image that is going to get created. So for that we can use this dash t parameter, and you can provide the repository name. So for example, my first image, and then also you can provide a tag. So if, for example, I give him this specific image as tag 2, and then I again run it. So okay, anyway, it's kind of taking time, but with this, if you can see, this is the another example that I ran by using repository name and tag. So if I would have given, as I gave here, um, my first image and then 2.0. Similarly, you will see when this build is complete, an image is created successfully, you will find another repository with my first image repository name and tag name as 2.0 with a unique image ID. So that's how you can build a Docker image by using a Docker file which is present on any path, or you can build it by using the current directory, or you can also use your Git repository. You can place the file in your Git repository, and then you can just run a build and create an image in your local machine. So you don't have to, if the file is like too big, you don't have to keep it in your local machine. You can put it over cloud, and then you can use it whenever you want to create that specific image in any of the machines, be it here in Ubuntu, or you can use this same file in maybe in some other machine, and it will build fine, and it will create a Docker image perfectly fine. That's it for Docker build.